Welcome to episode 29 of Two Guys, One Sport. My name is Chris.
Brother Chris, you sound magnificent tonight.
I do, because it's Sound Equipment Improvements Friday. I went and bought myself a new microphone, and
I like it.
Hopefully we're not going to have the horrible variances in levels that we normally have on the show.
You have a +1 to your microphone skills.
Exactly. And
I approve.
Our podcast has +1 to our host skills, because tonight it's two guys, one girl, and a podcast. Welcome, Jen, our special guest tonight.
Hi, Jen.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Joining us from the Cageside Seats community, we are very happy to have you, of course. We're going to be talking about WWE No Mercy tonight, and maybe some other WWE-related stuff. Jen, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling good.
Good stuff. We're going to dive right into our matches of the week. I'm going to just plow right through those. George, you go first.
Question. Brother Chris, Sister Jen. 20 years ago today, two somethings happened. Two big somethings happened. Can either one of you guess what it was? I will give you a hint. September 22nd, 1997 fell on a Monday. So that should narrow down what you're guessing. Two big somethings happened 20 years ago today.
Well, I know the answer to one of these because I saw it on Twitter, but I'll leave that for a second.
Okay.
So I don't know what the other one is. Jen, do you have any ideas?
20 years ago today, Sister Jen. You got any ideas as to two somethings that happened?
No clue.
Right.
Chris, what you got?
What I know of is that was the first time that Stone Cold Steve Austin delivered a stunner, and he delivered it to Mr. McMahon, of all people.
Yes. The first time Austin stunned Vince was on Monday Night Raw 20 years ago today. That's not what I'm going to talk about, though.
Okay.
What I'm going to talk about was what was going on Monday Nitro 20 years ago today.
Oh, Lord.
20 years ago today, a young, strapping lad from Atlanta, Georgia, made his Monday Nitro debut. His name was Bill Goldberg.
Oh, boy.
Whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know. He might have gone.
First of all, Chris, you feel old yet? 20 years ago was the debut of Bill Goldberg and the beginning of the Austin McMahon rivalry?
Yeah.
Because I was a wee young curtain jerker when all that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I felt old already this week anyway due to outside extenuating circumstances. So, but yeah, this isn't helping.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Bill Goldberg's debut match on Monday Nitro.
All right.
He wrestled a few house shows. He wrestled once on Saturday night's main event. But for all intents and purposes, this is his debut to the wider WCW audience, and by definition, the wider wrestling world. First of all, he wrestles Hugh Morris. Hugh Morris gets the full-blown entrance. By the way, this is the second segment on Monday Nitro. The first segment is a really great Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Silver King match.
Okay.
So would recommend that. You can just kind of watch them back-to-back. Hugh Morris, by the way, is Bill DeMott, who's running, at least was, maybe is still running NXT?
No, he's not. He's not in the Performance Center anymore, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah, no, that's not Bill DeMott. Bill DeMott was the bad guy.
Matt Bloom is now the guy running the Performance Center.
No, Bill DeMott was the guy who couldn't keep his hands to himself.
Exactly.
Bill Goldberg, by the way, got a jobber entrance.
He got a jobber
entrance. No, nothing. He was just standing there in the ring. He was wearing his short black anime trunks. He was wearing his gloves. He had his goatee, and he was jacked.
Okay.
He won in 2.5 minutes with the jackhammer. No spear. Sold a shitload. Got busted open under his eye by Aaron's elbow that looked unintentional.
Okay.
Kicked out of Hugh Morris's finisher. No laughing matter. You could tell right away that this guy was something special. Is the real key to this match. He wasn't particularly smooth. He was athletic. You can tell that he had that big man athleticism that kind of came to define his moveset. And you could tell that the crowd immediately saw that this guy was something special.
Mm-hmm.
One day, maybe not today because we'll get lost, and I don't want to monopolize all the time. We can talk about Bill Goldberg's booking in WCW. But all I'm going to say is that 1 year after this episode, when he was the champion, he was not on Monday Nitro. And that should give you an indication as to how poorly he was booked once he won the title. But for now, you can kind of see the beginnings of something special with the guy. Again, he's got that physical charisma off the charts. He connects with people, and you can see people really start to get into him when they have no idea who he is. And that's really a testament to getting over. No video, no vignettes, no pre-match promo. Just here's a guy picking up a bigger guy and throwing him around, and oh yeah, now let's cheer for him.
Yep.
So
simple formula. That's all you needed back then.
It's been working that way for 150 years, brother Chris. I don't understand why we need to go away from it, but here we are.
Yep.
So yeah, my match of the week, Bill Goldberg. His first Monday Nitro. First one of, I think, a streak got to like 176 or something before he lost to a Taser and Kevin Nash at Starrcade in '98. But I don't know how plugged in you were at the time, and I don't know how old you are, Jen, and I'm not going to presume because that's very rude to ask a lady your age. Chris, I know you're a little younger than I am, right? You're like 29-ish, right?
31.
30. Okay, I'll be 33 next month. So you may have missed this the first time. I don't know how you were.
Yeah, no, I definitely missed this. Jen and I actually both came in around the same time to watching wrestling in earnest. I started the end of 2014. Jen started in 2015. So you're still the history guy here.
Okay. At the end of this is right when the warm starts to turn in the Monday Night Wars. Is mid '97. It doesn't really turn ratings wise until Austin wins the belt next year in '98. But this is the first time Raw starts to become awesome. I've waxed poetic in 1997 WWF before. This is probably the best Raw they've ever done to this point. Is this Raw? Cactus Jack making his comeback, a huge brawl between the Hart Foundation and DX for the first time. Vince and Austin going at it, and the only thing that WCW had left was Sting getting his hands on Hogan, which they fucked up, as we've discussed, and this young, quote-unquote, I should say fresh guy brewing down in the undercard named Bill Goldberg, who was automatically the most over guy on the show within 2 months. By the fall, when no one knows anything about him, and the only thing he has to connect with his crowds is a snarl and his physical presence, he's the only reason worth watching. And in the spring, after they fucked the Sting thing up, when they did the Hogan Sting Brett screw job in Montreal, at Starrcade in '97. Well, it was based on Montreal. In Starrcade '97, the only reason WCW was worth a damn that entire year was Bill Goldberg.
Yep.
So, and you can see it right here, and you guys missed something special because the Attitude Era doesn't age well, but Bill Goldberg ages well because it's really basic. Big guy beating the crap out of little guys and getting over.
Nice.
So
that's the only reason to go back to watching late 90s.
Oh God, it's horrendous, brother Chris, sister Jen, real bad. Unless 1 minute matches and tons of Eric Bischoff, drunken Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash doing his wavy finger things are your thing, stay the hell away. But thankfully, a lot of the nitros are timestamps. You can just go right to the Bill Goldberg match and watch it and be on with your life.
Thank God. All right, Jen, you have a match of the week.
Yes, I do. And by the way, I'm 39. I don't mind sharing my age, but I'm a baby in terms of wrestling.
That's fine.
So my match was the Roman and Jordan match from, was it last week?
Yes, last week Raw.
Raw, yes. And obviously, I don't know, Chris, you know, I'm a huge Roman fan. And so basically, in my eyes, he's the one I want to watch. And I had a feeling this was going to be a really good match. But what surprised me was the reaction that Jordan got throughout. Because I just, you know, you put him up against Roman, and next thing you know, the crowd is actually rooting for Jordan.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Is this guy getting cheers? What's happening? And
by the way, you notice how those cheers went away this week?
Yeah.
For Jordan, it's a testament to Roman Reigns' ability to get everyone else over. That he got Jason Jordan over for 1 week.
I felt bad. I was like, oh, put Roman back. Poor guy.
Yeah, exactly. Jordan was dying on the vine without Roman to prop him up.
Yeah, the star-making power of Roman Reigns. There's going to be a book about it one day.
Yeah, unfortunately, the problem is he can make every star in the world except himself.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
So go on. I'm sorry.
I lost my train of thought.
Jordan was getting the reactions.
Yes, and then after the match, when they did the whole handshake thing, I'm kind of a dick, so I was hoping he was just gonna spear him again. He didn't. He did the whole respect thing.
Yeah,
awesome.
Which was nice. It was good. That's,
I mean, right now there's...
Roman just goes out there and just does his best to make the other guy look awesome, and lets other people shine, and that's just what I love about him, and that's what I loved about that match, was just that they got the crowd into it and then showed the respect afterwards, even though I did want that spear, but yeah, that's good.
I think it's right now is telling that the only guy that Roman is not showing respect to is Cena, and that's really a sign of like the storytelling ability that gets lost it got lost in this feud, which we're going to get into later. We're going to have a special discussion about
what I liked about this match. The match itself was excellent, by the way. What I liked about this match is the week before Roman was trashing on Jordan because Cena couldn't beat him right away. And then when he got in there with Jordan himself, he did something that I love, that he made Jordan look good, but made himself look good in the process. That's straight out of like the Dean Malenko, young Jushin Liger, Ric Flair school of doing business. Give the opponent a lot of offense, bump for his shit, and in the end win and make yourself look good too. One of the rare times in modern WWE that everybody came out of the match better than they did going into the match.
Yeah.
So I like that week to week storytelling that they did as well. Like Roman was trashing on Jason Jordan because who's this guy? He's just some rookie. And then by the end of it, Jordan looked great, throwing Roman around, which is no small feat because Roman's a big dude. And Roman beat him anyways. And at the end was like, yeah, this guy's actually for real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can give Jordan another opportunity of some sort of a showcase where he will be able to get himself over, because he's not going to do it against The Miz, but that is what it is. We'll talk about that later.
We'll get there.
Yeah. My match of the week, we're going over to Stardom here, and
no. Chris, you never talk about Stardom.
Right? It's only every week I somehow managed to work the damn promotion into the show.
We should have a drink. We should have a podcast drinking game. I talk about the 80s, 90s, and you talk about Stardom, and see who blacks out. And see who blacks out first.
Yeah, chat. Somebody start writing up a Two Guys One Sport drinking game, please.
Yeah, a bingo card.
I want to see this. I want to see this on Twitter by episode 30 next week.
Yeah. Two Guys One Sport bingo card.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the finale of the 5-Star Grand Prix, which took place this week, and I'm going to start off by saying, how did we get here? Let me actually, because I am completely prepared always for my show, is figure out the dates that these things occurred. So the finals took place on Monday, September 18th at Korakuen Hall. And going into the finals, it was a mess. The standings were a friggin' shit show. In Red Block, Mayu Iwatani and Viper were tied for first with 10 points. We had Yoko Bito and Kagetsu and Hana Kimura both all lurking in the back in 8 points. It really was anybody's game. And in Blue Block side, Tony Storm and Io Shirai at a not just points-wise dead heat, but mathematical tiebreaker-wise dead heat as well. Both sitting at 9 points, both having exactly the same brackets. They had beaten every single one of their other opponents up to that point, except for Mandy Leon, which they both lost to, gag, and they had drawn with each other.
She's really, really terrible.
She really is. Mandy Leon is really, really terrible. We're going to keep saying that as long as she.
You were blocked by her on Twitter, which you should wear as a badge of honor, by the way. You should wear it as a badge of honor.
Yeah. Mandy Leon, stop vanity searching yourself and also get better at wrestling. Anyway, so I ain't mincing words on this. So
Sister Jen, she's really bad. We're not being mean. She's not good.
Oh, I have no idea what you guys are talking about, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Oh, she's not good. I mean, like, do you remember like the pre-Women's Revolution women's matches in WWE with like Eva Marie and shit?
Yes.
Worse than that, because at least Eva Marie understands the joke. This woman thinks she's actually good and isn't good.
Okay.
Like
I got exactly what you're talking about.
Worse than Eva Marie. She's really terrible. And she's in the premier women's tournament in the world.
Yeah.
And is like doing well.
And also is the leading star on Ring of Honor's Women of Honor, but that's besides the point. Anyway, so everybody who was everybody except for Hana Kimura, who was at the top of Red Block, was facing each other. Mayu Iwatani was facing Kagetsu, and Viper was facing Yoko Bito. It came down to Kagetsu and Yoko Bito both winning their matches. So we had four people who were at 10 points. And tiebreakers breaking down as they were. Yoko Bito won Red Block, coming out having beaten Viper and beaten Kagetsu, losing only to Mayu. She barely edged out Viper in the tiebreakers. On the Blue Block side, Toni Storm won a hellacious match against Kaylee Ray, which put her at 11. And all Io Shirai had to do was beat her stablemate, Hazuki, and they went and had themselves a hell of a match, which might have been one of the best matches of the night that night. And they fought all the way to a draw. Hazuki kicked out of the moonsault. The only other people who have kicked out of the moonsault this year are Mayu Iwatani and Toni Storm. So Hazuki's in an elite class right now among the Stardom women, as one of only 3 people to kick out of Io Shirai's killer, the moonsault. So Toni Storm ends up winning Blue Block with 11 points, and the finals of the Grand Prix wound up being Toni Storm versus Yoko Bito. Both of them already having fought very hard-fought matches that very same night, and both running on fumes, essentially. You could tell right during the ring entrances, both of them were, taking their time, moving with a lot of purpose, not getting too crazy with motion to the crowd or anything, just keeping it very minimal. And they both go in for the handshake before the match. They separate from the handshake, and Yoko Bito just thrust kicks Toni right in the face and sends her into the turnbuckle. That starts the match, because you could tell Yoko Bito wanted to win it quick. She wanted to get in there and just get it done and win the Grand Prix for the second year in a row. She gets in there. A lot of hard strikes, goes for the cover. Toni kicks out. They take it to the outside. Toni does a suicide dive, does some more moves, tries to get Yoko Bito in position for a slam or something. I don't remember what exactly it was, but Yoko reverses it, hits her finisher on the floor, and they both barely make it back into the ring before the 20 count. And then from there, it just turns into a fucking slugfest. They're just brawling the shit out of each other. Toni hits the spike pile driver. Yoko kicks out. Yoko hits the B driver again. Toni kicks out. They're both spent. And finally, they go in again for more hard strikes. Toni ducks one of Yoko's. And then just goes spike pile driver, spike pile driver, spike pile driver, cover, win. And wins the 5-star Grand Prix, becoming only the first woman in all of Stardom to win both the Cinderella tournament and the 5-star Grand Prix in the same year. For frame of reference, that would be like somebody winning the New Japan Cup and the G1 in the same year, or somebody winning King of the Ring and the Royal Rumble in the same year. It's unheard of. It's insane. Like, that's something you do to somebody who is going to be gold for you.
Brock Lesnar did it off the top of my head. He won the 02 King of the Ring and the 03 Rumble.
Yeah. And
that guy turned out okay. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So Toni Storm, if this is not evidence that Toni Storm is Rossy Ogawa's new favorite in Stardom, I don't know what it will take to convince you, but it's true.
It's pretty big evidence.
Yeah. So it was not the most well executed match, but it was a slugfest, and I enjoy a good hard hitting slugfest. There was one point in the match where Toni goes and just hitting a series of forearms over and over and over on Yoko's shoulder and neck, and then she winds up for the big finisher, and before she can hit it, Yoko just goes in and hits one of her own, and you get that hard slap of flesh against flesh that just echoes through the whole building. It's just like, ah, God, scary sounds. It was a great hard hitting battle of willpower that I really enjoyed. Post match, basically everybody issued a challenge against everybody, to the point where I think every single one of Stardom's titles, except for the high speed title, is going to end up being defended over the course of the next 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, this is what happens. Post 5-star Grand Prix. It's much like post G1, where just everybody lays down a challenge to everybody else for something. Yeah, like the video of the match itself. The match itself is only about 9.5 minutes long, because they were, they obviously were booking that around the fact that they were both clearly exhausted already. But the video that has the match and the post-match is over a half an hour, because the post-match speeches and challenges just went on forever. Everybody coming out to the ring to, make a call. So it was a good match, though. It was a good end to the tournament. Surprising that Yoko got the win. I was expecting it to be Mayu. As I had said when the Grand Prix first started, I expected the finals to be Io Shirai versus Mayu Iwatani, and for Io to win the whole thing and to go right back into the challenge for the red belt. But yeah, that's not where they're going with it, which I'm actually okay with. They're keeping up the faction warfare going between Queen's Quest and Oedo Tai, and they're having Tony be the top challenger on the singles side. So interesting times in Stardom. And that's my match of the week.
Nice. Good stuff.
Right. So I've been drinking a bit because
fun.
Because we have to talk about this show, No Mercy. I titled this week's episode, If I Go Down, You're Coming With Me, because WWE seems to hell-bent on bringing us all down with it as they sink their own ship. And this show is pretty strong evidence of that. So let's dive right in, guys.
Let's go.
Yeah. Starting with the pre-show match that was just announced today. Apollo Crews versus Elias on the pre-show.
Oh, I'm actually looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two guys with not much to do, give them something to do. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with having an 8-minute match that has no stakes and no storyline if it's a pre-show match.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a main match, like a main event match, we got a problem. But it's a pre-show match. There'll be no one in the building, or there'll be no one in the stands. People will be out in concessions, getting popcorn and T-shirts. I'm cool with watching these two have a 9-minute match. Why not? It should be good. Yeah. WWE pre-show matches usually are pretty good because they the guys get the time to do stuff.
Am I the only one that still is hoping for it to eventually come about that Elias just smashes his guitar over somebody else's head?
Like he's Jeff Jarrett?
Yeah.
Why not? I'm here.
Sure, go for it.
Look, yeah, why not? I mean, we got Vince McMahon taking shoot headbutts, so why the hell not smash guitars over people's heads?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's go for sure. I'm okay with that. I like Elias.
Yeah.
I don't even like Elias ironically, like the hipster thing. I actually like Elias. He entertains me, which is because I hated the guy in NXT.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like I had said back when he was still in NXT that like the guy clearly was not cut out for the role that he was in, and the crowd hated him. But he actually could do some pretty good stuff in the ring. I saw him have a hell of a match with Oney Lorcan at a live show in Manhattan last year. So the guy he's still growing into his character a bit, but he's definitely smoothed it out from where he was in NXT, and he serves a purpose more so than he did in NXT, and that's an important.
The world needs ditch diggers, Sister Jen and Brother Chris. There's nothing, or the wrestling equivalent thereof, which is guys like Elias.
Mm-hmm.
And he wins this match. I actually like him. I don't want to say a lot, but I like him enough. I think he wins.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Apollo get the win because Apollo's been doing fucking nothing for like almost a year now.
Yeah, there's 30 people in the company who've been doing nothing for a year now.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll get there.
Yeah, it just hurts for me to see a guy who is clearly just insanely talented and is warming the bench. It's almost like Luke Harper. In fact, it's exactly like Luke Harper over on the SmackDown side. A guy who is clearly very good in the ring, and if you actually invest the time in giving him something good to work with, can do something. But I don't know. Oh, Matt, thank you. He already did hit Finn with the guitar, so I must have.
Oh yeah, and like ripped him up, right? Like in the back of the ear or something. Yeah, like the behind his ear.
Yeah, he fucked him up with that. I quite enjoyed it.
I'm here for that because
I told you I was a dick. So I'm sorry.
I'll never not pop for guys getting hit with. Sure, hell yeah!
Wow.
Like Braun Strowman throwing desk chairs at people. Hell yeah, here for that. You know?
The savagery level on this podcast increased by about 40%.
Jen is all in on guys getting hit in the head with a guitar, and you know what? I am here for that.
Wow.
Maybe we'll get it on our show. If he does it to Apollo, I will be. Oh my God. Yeah. I'll be on Twitter.
You know what, Jen? You have an open invite to come on this show anytime you want. If you're gonna be a fan of people getting hit in the head with guitars, you're a friend of mine.
Savagery.
I want to ask you a question. This is a good segue to my question.
Okay, yeah.
I have a question for you, and you hinted to it.
Okay.
Who is to the two of you is WWE main roster performer? Now,
your mic cut out in the middle of that. Say it again.
It's the most underutilized WWE main roster performer. Now, could mean someone you think has all the tools to be a more prominent figure, as highly as you think they should be. Scales up to you. Someone could be a mid-carder who you think should be the top of the card, or someone could not be on TV at all who you think should be a mid-carder. It doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I understand.
Who's underpushed or underutilized on the main roster? Who's the number one in your mind?
I'll give you my answer immediately. The answer is Luke Harper, because go back to the beginning of the year. Go back to that Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt program, and them winning the tag team titles. Even the end of 2016. The linchpin of that program, I've said it before, we've all said it before, but I'm saying it again, Luke Harper was the linchpin of that program, and Luke Harper made it work. Without Luke Harper, what did we get? Maggots and flies on a projector in the ring is what we got.
You know what?
WrestleMania.
I said this before. Set that aside. The match itself was garbage too. Let's not forget that the actual in-ring component of that match was shit. Above and beyond the fucking 8th grade science project gifts. Like, it wasn't like this was like Okada Shibata, and then they had the science gifts. This match was garbage before, during, and after that whole everything to do with the projector.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, Luke Harper made that program. And if you ask me, the fact that Luke Harper made that program had everybody watching that program cheering for him to get his comeuppance and to be the one to take down Bray and to, take it home and make himself, make it be his own man and make his own life and his destiny in the program. And then they just fucking snatched it away from him and sent him to catering. That to me is just criminal, because in my nearly 3 years of watching WWE, I have not seen a performer that single-handedly genuinely get himself into that level of investment with a crowd that is becoming more and more disenfranchised with the product by the day. There's not been anybody who has been able to grab people's attention. The only person who comes close, in my view, is Akira Tozawa. He's the only one that I can think that comes even close. They're just naturally ingratiating himself with the crowd and becoming a star. And they just fucking threw it away for dumbass Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton feud. And I'm gonna actually reiterate something I said earlier today. I don't remember who it was I was talking to, but the problem with Bray Wyatt right now, and I'll get into this more when we get to his match that he has on this No Mercy card. But the problem with Bray Wyatt right now is that he has become WWE's version of Bad Luck Fale. He's a guy that is really not that good, and everybody knows he's really not that good, but the powers that be want to keep him looking relatively credible so that if there's ever a point in time that there's an injury or there's a suspension or something happens and they need to plug somebody into a program, Bray can be that guy. And that's why they occasionally will give him these things, give him these moments so that he still is somebody that is viewed as being not necessarily a main event level talent, but certainly an upper card level talent, even though he clearly doesn't deserve it in any way, shape, or form. And Luke Harper is one of the most tragic casualties of that need to have a guy that can just be a utility player. And I understand that you need to have utility players. You need to have people that you can just send out there on a whim if you need it. But Bray is not that guy. Luke Harper could be that guy. Luke Harper is a guy who very easily could be a mid-card gatekeeper that you plug into any upper card level program and he'll just make it work. He's incredibly talented.
I don't see why Luke Harper's floor can't be Oney Lorcan. Guy who has great 10-minute match every week.
Exactly.
That's the floor. Much less anything beyond that.
Yeah.
And that's a good floor. That's a respectable floor. There's nothing wrong with guy who has great 10-minute match every week. That's a good spot to be in.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see why he can't be pushed any further. Do you got anything else before I turn it over to Miss Jen?
No, that was all I had.
Miss Jen, Sister Jen, who you got?
Chris stole them from me.
I'm sorry.
No, actually, I'm glad you went first, and you said it a lot better than I could have. But I agree 100% with everything you've said, and I just, week after week, keep waiting for him to show up on my screen, and I'm disappointed every week.
Yeah. Anything at this point. Like,
It's ridiculous.
There were reports that they were gonna have that whole thing with the fashion files from before SummerSlam. The end result of that, the reveal of it, was going to be Harper and Rowan, and then they just fucking scrapped it. And not only did they not bring back Harper and Rowan, but the fashion files have also been just gone from SmackDown for since SummerSlam. So it's like they're just taking everything good. At Tanya, you're absolutely right. Harper should have been in that WWE Championship match. He really should have.
I'm gonna go a different tack.
Yeah, I think they should just get Bray Wyatt out of there and put Luke Harper there, because I'm about done with Bray. I just can't with him anymore.
He's irredeemable at this point in my view.
When you said we'll get to his match about No Mercy, in my head I was thinking, what are you talking about? He doesn't have a match at No Mercy. And then I'm like, holy shit, yes he does. The guy's on Raw.
Yeah, that's the George Otsalis Memorial running to get Thai food match. That I have every pay-per-view. I have the running to get Thai food match, Jen, where that I don't actually watch. I just go get takeout. It's always the Bray Wyatt match, except the one time he wrestled Seth Rollins and it was the first match, and I wasn't hungry yet.
Yes. True.
Yeah, like whatever that garbage was.
I
was like,
no. Out of the way. Yeah.
No.
I was happy.
I wanted like at 8:30 my time. I'm in Chicago, so right in the middle of the show, so I can go get takeout. But instead, no, they had to do it at 7:15. So, I'm gonna go a different direction here. Now, first of all, there's no real wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
The roster is probably underutilized if you really sit and think about it.
Yeah.
But for what this company wants to be, printing money for them, Bayley should be the subject of Washington Post profiles about getting young girls into professional wrestling for the first time ever, and the role that these well-developed, non-cliched characters are all playing and dragging in a brand new fan base for the first time ever. Well, we have what we have with her. I think Becky Lynch is a close second. Is unbelievably genuine in a business and a company where there's no genuineness.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I don't know. Bayley is one of the largest missteps they've made in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had a Cena character for girls, this untapped demographic. You take her from being an underdog to an over-champion performer. You put her to the main roster, where she gets a thunderous ovation at Battleground when she's the mystery partner. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
There's a thunderous ovation in Brooklyn.
that wasn't Brooklyn, but still loudest pop that has happened. Loudest pop that happened all of 2016 on WWE.
And you use none of that, nor any of her video to get her over. You have Mick Foley introduce her in a shitty segment, and it's all downhill from there. Now, we've talked before, she can't cut a promo if you put a gun in her head. We know. But still, you had it all right there. You had the keys to the kingdom. Young girls ready to rock and roll with her and, to a lesser extent, Becky and Sasha and Charlotte. And instead, you fucked it up. Because
Vince hates
what are
women.
You doing here?
Because Vince hates women. Because Vince thinks that women should only be portrayed in one specific way.
Of the two of us, and I can't speak for you, Jen, obviously. Of the two of us, I am not the women's fan that you are. But I am the fan of good wrestling, and I am the fan of successful wrestling. Because when wrestling is successful, it's better. Remember what I talked about the Attitude Era?
Mm-hmm.
When you'd go to school, you don't know this, but you'd go to school on Tuesday morning, and everyone wasn't talking about baseball or basketball or football. They were talking, oh, my God, did you see Nitro? Oh, my God, did you see Raw?
I remember that.
I would like for those days to be back.
I was in Catholic school at the time, but I remember coming into school in the morning and everybody talking about Stone Cold and The Rock and Goldberg and all that stuff, and like I was the odd man out all the time because I wasn't allowed to watch it as a kid, and everybody.
And now here you are.
And now here I am running my own freaking wrestling podcast about it.
And now here you are.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember the heyday of wrestling and what that was like. Now it's like you talk to anybody. Like I'll come into work. I'm wearing my Progress New York shirt today. I went into work today wearing my Progress NYC shirt, and a coworker complimented me on it and said, "It's a nice shirt. Where'd you get it?" I said, "I got it at a wrestling show." He said, "Oh." And he had no idea how to respond to that because wrestling is not in the public eye in the way that it used to be.
No, it's like very niche.
You'll still get the people who you'll tell them that you're a wrestling fan, and they'll say, "Oh, you mean like WWF?" But it hasn't been called WWF in what, 17 years, 18 years, something like that. It's like it fell out because WWE makes wrestling hard. We've talked about this. Wrestling is easy. WWE makes it hard.
Exactly. They had it right there with the Horsewoman. And they had Bayley as the potential of linchpin, gateway to that community, that untapped pater to young girls, or Sasha or whomever.
Yeah.
But and they
had
screwed it up.
They had Izzy and a ton of other young girls coming to NXT shows at Full Sail wearing the performers cosplays of the performers' gear.
So I tell you my Rumble story. The girl sitting next to me in the Sasha Banks knuckles and glasses and T-shirt. She was like 8. Yeah, they had it right there.
Yeah,
and nope. Now we get one segment in a multi-woman match every week.
Yep.
Because God forbid, I don't know. This company aggravates me, Chris.
It does.
So that was my question. I told you I had that question. So
a good question.
I think I would say the women in general, but Bayley especially. And then maybe Becky, because I am more of a Becky fan than a Bayley fan, but I realized that Bayley had the higher ceiling and the greater potential to unlock that group of fans. But no, Becky's pretty great. I love her.
Yeah, exactly. I do too. But it's telling. It's very telling how, after the women's revolution, they brought up Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky, and a year went by, and everybody was completely jaded from the fact that Charlotte had still won the title at Mania with Rick's help, and that Rick was still the centerpiece of Charlotte's storyline for 6 months at that point. It was still about him, even though she was the champion. And we were all saying about how WWE somehow managed to make a man the centerpiece of a women's match, and that and then when there was signs that Bayley was coming up, everybody said, "Oh no, it'll be fine. There's no way they could possibly screw up Bayley. It'll be fine. It'll be perfect." Here we are. Yeah.
So, Moving on. What's next, Brother Chris?
All right, next to get into the main card, we've got, let's just dive right into it since we already talked about it. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt.
Man versus man. They've gone out of, someone else said this on Twitter. I don't remember who, otherwise I'd give credit. They've gone out of their way to say that this is the most boring match they could possibly have with no gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I mean, at least there's points for originality there. I think Bray win. Who won the first match? Finn, right? Finn won as the Demon.
Finn won as the Demon.
So
yes.
Bray's gonna win this one because that's how these things work sometimes.
Exactly. Like people are asking me, why do you think Bray's gonna win? It's like, well, let's see. Their paint.
Because I've been watching wrestling for 25 years.
The 50-50 booking is a thing. The paint is not in play. Finn weighs 190 pounds, and Bray is a legacy that they want to keep strong. There you go. That's all you need to know about why Bray is going to win this match, and this feud is going to continue to waste time on our screens on Monday nights.
Real quick, and then I'll let you talk, Jen. I wish Finn and Demon Finn were different. I wish
Everybody
they had
wishes that.
I wish they had other than Finn doing his little crouch walk thing and his little pirate sash, whatever the hell that was at SummerSlam. I wish they had different moves. Well, how would you explain that? It looked like he was in Assassin's Creed or something with a big red sash. I wish they had different moves. That Finn had a different move set as the Demon. I wish he was sold differently as the Demon. Like mannerisms were different.
I will say that he did manage to bring a little bit of a difference in the last match, in the Bray match, and that he definitely showed that he is capable of no-selling things a little bit better, like that finishing sequence where he just got right back up and then hit the drop kick. That was something different. That was definitely not out of the standard Finn Balor playbook. That was definitely a Demon Finn Balor type thing. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm down for this. Let's see more of it. But who knows what they'll do?
Who knows? So, Jen, thoughts on this match?
I could give a shit about this match.
This is my go pick up Thai food match. So who gives a fuck?
Essentially.
I don't know why they're fighting. I don't care.
Does anybody know why Bray Wyatt fights anybody anymore?
We've said this for months, but I miss the Preacher King Bray Wyatt. I hate the fucking witch doctor Bray Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you could launch one of Bray, Corbin, or Ziggler in a rocket to the sun, who are you picking?
Ziggler. Immediately.
No hesitation on that one.
Yeah, it was right away there.
Listen, Corbin and Wyatt are bad. There's no doubting that. But Dolph Ziggler, there's something about him that just gets my goat. And this
Dolph Ziggler gimmick is unbelievably bad.
Hey,
we're talking we'll talk about Spectrum a little bit. I don't want to cross streams because that bad stuff happens, as Ghostbusters taught us when you cross the streams. Exactly. But this Dolph Ziggler, guys, I've been watching a shitload of professional wrestling. Fuck. This Dolph Ziggler thing, it's just terrible. Like, there's nothing redeeming about this Dolph Ziggler thing at all.
I would, if you asked me to watch one Dolph Ziggler match or a day straight marathon of bad gimmick matches from DDT Pro in Japan, I would take the DDT Pro matches in a heartbeat.
How about this? You can watch the Dolph Ziggler matches aren't the problem. It's just whatever the hell this cosplay shit is.
Everything about Dolph is just, I just can't stand him anymore.
If your choice is 10 minutes of whatever this Dolph shit is, or 10 minutes of Bray Wyatt cutting one of his rambling, nonsensical, inane promos,
I'd actually take Bray's promos.
Oh man,
here's the thing: Bray may say nothing, but I'm a sucker for a really good speaking voice. And like it or not, Bray Wyatt does have a really.
It's like that Eddie Izzard. It's 80% how you say it and 10% what you say.
What's the other 10%?
I don't remember, the volume or something. I don't remember. There's a thing. It's like 80% how you say something and 10% what you say and then 10% something else.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody knows why Bray Wyatt fights anybody anymore.
Bray's just garbage. He's so bad.
All right.
They ended AJ Styles' title reign and John Cena's record tying reign to give him the belt. They ruined two awesome things.
Yep.
To give Bray Wyatt the championship. So Randy Orton could beat him. So Jinder Mahal could beat him. Fuck this show. I hate the show, Chris and Jen. I hate SmackDown.
I don't watch it really, so I agree.
Good. First.
All right.
Before I spill something.
All right, moving on to better pastures here. The Raw Tag Team titles defended by Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus Sheamus and Cesaro. This is a rematch from SummerSlam.
I like how Sheamus and Cesaro, I like how Ambrose and Rollins have been together for a month, and it feels like they've been together for 3 years because they keep over and over again.
That's true.
Like, then again, the match itself should be pretty great. These four work well together.
Yeah. I mean, these are four guys who are, putting aside, video game wrestling that, we know Seth Rollins is prone to doing, and Dean Ambrose sometimes just doing wacky shit for no reason at all. These four guys are all really good at turning in good quality matches.
And I will say this about these four guys, none of the four have any hesitation about getting the shit kicked out of them, which always helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, this match should be great. I thought the SummerSlam match was excellent.
It was.
Well, I don't see why this can't be as good, if not marginally better, or somewhere in that ballpark. I could see this being a 4-star match. In fact, anything less than like 3.5, I'll be disappointed, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it will take a lot for it to get that low because, Sheamus and Cesaro, we've talked about, are just, these guys just know how to put in work and know how to make.
Yeah, they do, and they work well together. And they're starting to and they figured out what they do well as a tag team. They're getting the tag team stuff right, you get with reps.
And Ambrose and Rollins are a very strong case of them, of the sum of their parts being greater than the individual pieces.
Yeah, no, and especially because Dean Ambrose as hot tag works well for me for some reason. I like Seth Rollins as face in peril. Mm-hmm. I like Dean Ambrose as the hot tag.
Yeah.
Because Seth is still good at selling, and Dean is still good at his intensity.
Yeah. Dean works well as a hot tag. He's not not quite as good of a hot tag as Roman was.
No, of course not. It'll be ridiculous.
His style is conducive to a hot tag style guy who just comes in and just wrecks house.
Yeah. Just retire that fucking clothesline, though, please. Dear God. Mm-hmm. Fuck you, Nigel McGuinness, for giving Dean Ambrose the influence to do that. It's so bad. It's a terrible move.
You're not a fan of the lunatic lariat?
No, I'm not. I haven't been a fan of the lunatic lariat since like 2013, or whatever the hell he started it.
You know what? I'll take the lunatic lariat over that dumbass running corner to corner forearm followed by the running bulldog. That I think
that's terrible too. Dean Ambrose's offense actually sucks now that I think about it. Like his suicide dive where he just pushes the guy into the barricade is garbage. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, the
lands on his feet every time. It's like, what are you doing, man?
the problem with Dean Ambrose.
In fact, Dean Ambrose kind of sucks in the ring. In fact, it's not even. In fact, Dean Ambrose really sucks in the ring.
Here's the problem. Is the reason why though, and it took me a little while to come to this conclusion, but like you look at a guy like Drew McIntyre who was part of the company, left, went on the Indies. We talked about this last week. He left, went out on the Indies, came back, and was able to incorporate everything that he learned on the Indies into his new style, working within the WWE, but still working within the WWE style. Like he adapted what he learned there into the WWE style and made it work. Dean Ambrose, on the other hand, he started his career in CZW, was the fucking deathmatch guy.
Yeah, he's fighting with chainsaws, literally.
Light tubes and barbed wire baseball bats on a nightly basis. That is what it is. But he adapting from that to the WWE style is, I think he still is not quite there. Because he still is used to, going out there and running ham. And I think he's never quite gotten it out of his head that, he has to check his intensity and, that he needs to be mindful of not making guys bleed all over the place every single match that he's in.
You know my theory on death matches, right? Have I told you my theory on death matches? It's the same. My theory on death matches is the same as my theory on. It's not even a theory. For me, death matches are like Oreos. You have a death match or two, okay. You have an Oreo or two, okay. You have an entire box of Oreos, your head hurts and your tummy feels funny. That's the same thing that happens to me when I watch an entire card of death matches in a row, like 3 hours of death matches.
Mm-hmm.
My head hurts and my tummy feels funny.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad he's not doing that anymore. I'm sure he's glad he's not doing that anymore. Something's got to change. Something's got to change because he's got everything else down. It's just the in-ring has always been lacking, and it hasn't gotten better. And hit the gym too, homeboy. Hit the gym. I'm the body mark of the two of us. He was big in the Shield. He had definition and mass, and he was thick and broad and big arms and big thighs, and he was a good-looking dude. And now he looks like some teenager backyard wrestling in a tank top. Like, what are you doing, man? Have a protein shake, have a chicken breast, have a nice heavy lift, and get on with your life, man. You look like shit.
Not as much as Kevin Owens looks like shit, though.
Oh God, Kevin Owens the opposite problem. They gotta switch meals. Those two. Kevin Owens needs to go on the Dean Ambrose diet, and Dean Ambrose needs to go on the Kevin Owens diet for like a month just to see what happens.
Okay, George has given his thoughts.
Oh, I mean, like, have some pride, man. Come on.
Next, Jen, what do you have?
Ben, give us some thoughts on this match.
Oh, sorry.
This is our show, by the way. We just kind of ramble.
Poor Dean. Oh, I love Dean, but yeah. As far as this match, well, it's gonna be great. They've always had great matches, but I'm ready for them to move on. I'm just tired of the same matches over and over,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't know if it's who it's going to be with, but
Raw tag team scene does not have a lot of depth, and that's a bigger problem. But like, I don't know. I think having one more match might not be completely, bad, but yeah, they're definitely starting to wear out the life cycle of this feud.
I've said this before, and I've been talked out of it by the supercomputer because he knows a lot of good stuff.
Vidance, we miss you. Come back.
We miss you, Vidance. He and I had a good talk today about FloSlam, which we'll talk about next week.
Oh God, how are you talking to him? Jen and I were saying before the show we can't talk to him.
Oh, I can't tell you. Have you ever seen All the President's Men? All the President's Men, when they want to set up a meeting, the guy moves like a flagpole in his flower pot in his balcony, and then he meets a guy in a garage. That's actually how Vidance and I talk.
Oh my God.
But, maybe I haven't thought about this in a while, but it may be time to move all the tag teams to one show and all the women to the other, because both divisions are suffering. All four divisions technically, Raw and SmackDown tag team and Raw and SmackDown women are suffering from a chronic lack of depth. I think, and plus it would help to differentiate the shows. Right now, SmackDown feels like a carbon copy of Raw, only worse. Mm-hmm. There's no difference.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe put the tag teams on one and the women on the other. I don't really care which, but you can kind of argue that later. Kind of give the shows a different feel. Because you're right, Jen. There's nothing going on here that we haven't seen before. So
yeah.
5 sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know if better creativity is the answer. I don't know. But something has got to give here because we've seen all this in the past. So,
who do you think wins? Jen, you first.
I think they're retaining their titles.
So do I.
Yeah, me too. And then we probably see some sort of nothing match with the club.
Is there a TLC match? Is TLC Raw or SmackDown this year?
I have no idea actually.
I don't know.
Let me see. 2017 WWE Network events. TLC, tables, ladders, and chairs. Set to take place October the 22nd in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the Target Center.
Then.
No, it's a Raw. It's a Raw event.
So I could be here for a ladder match for the belts, or a TLC or a ladder match for the belts with these four as a blow off to this feud. I can live with that.
I wouldn't mind that.
Jen, would you be okay with that? Right? Like a good.
Wait,
good...
when is it? TLC?
October 22nd.
A month from today.
Another month.
Yeah.
Okay, as long as they're not fighting every Monday on Raw, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I wish they would just keep them away from each other.
Yeah, that's honestly one of the biggest problems with WWE is that they constantly just have like previews of these big matches that are happening on pay-per-view, but they have them on free TV. So it's like, what's the point of tuning into the pay-per-view at that point?
Yep.
True. Good point. Good point. Good point, team.
All right. Next up, we're gonna. This is where we're gonna start going to the polls. I put out a couple of polls yesterday on our Twitter feed. So we're gonna start going to the polls here. We're gonna start with the Intercontinental Championship match: The Miz versus Jason Jordan. So what are our thoughts, Jen? We'll start with you.
Oh boy.
Another match nobody cares about. I mean, guys, this is a two-match show.
I just feel so bad, that I don't care about most of these matches. I really don't know because I feel like they're trying to, push Jordan and get him over, but so I'm wondering if he is gonna win, but I don't. What's that gonna do for him? I mean,
yeah. It's hard to say.
I think it's too soon to belt him. I think there's more juice as it would be in the chase than there is in the catch.
Yeah.
Plus, you can easy out with the Miztourage interfering.
Yeah.
The White Sting brothers in their case on Raw interfering.
That's what the polls said. The polls said 33% picked Miz to win, 17% picked Jordan to win, and 50% say it ends in a DQ or a no decision.
Yeah, it'll be a dirty win of some form or fashion, either a straight up DQ or a distraction leading to a skull crushing finale.
Yeah, I mean that's what every Miz win has been.
There's
for the
nothing
past
wrong
year
with
and
textbook.
a half. So
there's nothing wrong with textbook.
Yeah.
So,
every Miz win for the past year and a half since Maurice came back has been distraction to skull crushing finale. Yeah. So
it's working. He's getting over. So there's nothing wrong with textbook for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I gotta say though,
me and my hatred for the Miz. So
you do. You hate him, which is okay. We all have our blind spots. So he's been pretty great though on Raw, and he's been pretty great. And next week, Don Sal will be on the show, and he will be on my side when it comes to Team Miz.
Yeah, but we're probably not going to.
Yeah.
Well, we're only going to end up talking about him in context of who wins this match. So thankfully, I'll only be outnumbered for a few minutes.
That's okay. I'll take any ally I can get.
So we're.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the Miz. I like him. I think he's doing good work. I love his weird gimmick of being like not getting chances but taking advantage of things, which is very babyfacey. But this is such a strange era right now that he's the heel.
They're playing into the meta stuff with that, and that's
we have words about the meta stuff when we get to Cena Roman.
Yeah, all right. We're actually gonna save that one for last. Even though that's probably not going to be the headliner of the show, even though it should be, but we're gonna save that match for last. So we're all, basically it's agreed that it's either going to be a DQ or a dirty finish, right?
The Miz is retaining in some form or fashion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Next up, women's fatal five-way action. Alexa Bliss defends her Raw Women's Championship against Sasha Banks, Bayley, Nia Jax, and Emma.
Is this an elimination match, or is this a straight up one fall?
Straight up one fall.
So I'm reasonably certain that Emma's eating the pin then. Not exactly going on a huge limb.
I'm not so certain about that now, though, because there are rumors saying that Emma is going to be Asuka's first feud on Raw. So Emma might not be the one to eat the pin here, because they might want Emma to come out of this looking reasonably, credible, so that Asuka's first opponent. I mean, Even though they've spent 3 fucking years clowning Emma to the point where I would not be surprised if Tenille Dashwood just walks on the company one day and says, "Fuck you, I'm out."
Where's she gonna go?
Back to Shimmer and be the fucking women's Drew Galloway,
and make 1/10 what she's making now,
and then go to Stardom, and then go to WSU,
and make way. It's not, women don't have the options men have.
Maybe not, but
in terms of financial, in terms of in ring, and in terms of storytelling, absolutely they do. But like Cody Rhodes can go on the Indies and sell a shitload of T-shirts and be a draw for Ring of Honor, God knows how, which still boggles the mind that people pay money in a fucking recession to see Cody Rhodes do anything.
Yeah.
But whatever. But it doesn't work like that with the women, Chris. As much as we want it to.
Well, even if she doesn't walk, if she gets let go, which I think may end up being the case at this point, she might just end up getting let go because they need to cut some of the dead weight. If she does get let go, either way, when Tenille Dashwood's time with WWE is over, you can bet that we will see the female Drew Galloway.
Sure.
That's what she will be.
And she'll be great. And in 2020, she'll be back in the company.
Exactly.
And time is a flat circle, my friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking that Alexa retains by pinning Bayley. I think that's the only reason why Bayley got injected into this week.
Sure, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
I love this company, and by love I mean hate.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I think Alexa wins. I think Alexa retains because they're saving the Nia Jax coronation for down the line. Maybe the Survivor Series, maybe the Rumble.
I mean, that's what it has to be at this point. It's going to be they give Nia the title so that they can have Asuka beat her, and then Asuka just continues being the fucking Queen Kong of the division.
Sure. No one is ready.
Yeah.
Whatever. At least Sasha's great. We got that going for us.
We got the polls say 50% say Alexa wins, 25 say Sasha wins, 25 say Bayley wins. You guys, we're 3 of us though in agreement that Alexa.
I think Alexa's the safe pick.
Yeah, I think so.
But that breakdown is pretty much where I am. If I have to set odds,
yeah,
50, 25, 25. If I have to set some sort of Vegas style odds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. I think that those people voting for Sasha and Bayley are probably voting with their hearts more than their brains, but that's what wrestling fans do. Can't blame for it.
We're all manic like that, and we like to flip out on Twitter. So.
We do a lot of flipping out on Twitter.
We do. So what makes wrestling fans special?
Yeah,
very special.
Myself included. What's next? Cruiserweights?
Yeah, cruiserweight match. Neville defends his cruiserweight championship against God Almighty, why Enzo Amore.
I think Enzo wins the belt. Because that's why. I think Enzo wins the belt. And I'm dead serious. I'm not being a troll. I think they're gonna give him the belt.
I can understand why you would think that.
I'm not being my normal trolly self. I honestly think that's what's going to happen.
No, I understand. I understand why you would think that, and I don't fault you for it. But here's my counterpoint to that. How many titles did Enzo and Cass win in NXT?
None.
And how big of a draw were they in terms of the other tag teams in the tag team division?
Oh, they were a big draw.
The biggest.
Yeah.
WWE knows that Enzo doesn't need to win a title in order to have the crowd chanting his shit and cheering for his dumb jokes. They're
not chanting his shit anymore, though. His promos are starting to die a death because he's been geeked out for a month.
They don't care about
Not saying he doesn't deserve it.
They don't care about the promos. They care about the entrance. That's what they care about. They don't care about the fucking promos.
That's it. Yeah. Come out, chant your shit.
Yeah, and go get clowned.
Yep. I think he wins. I think he wins.
I think Neville retains.
I hope I'm wrong. By the way, if Neville gets a good match out of Enzo Amore, he's going up my list. I think I had him at 17 last week, thereabouts.
Something like that, yeah.
If Enzo gets a good match,
I think he actually rounded it out.
Match out of this scrub, fucking top 10 his ass on my list because Enzo Amore is garbage.
He really is.
And if Neville gets a passful match out of this guy, You should get a bonus check or something.
She got a fucking Nobel Peace Prize. Is what she
Yeah,
got.
shit.
Jen, who do you have?
Yeah.
I don't want Enzo to win.
Nobody wants Enzo to win.
I don't want him to win. I think Neville's gonna win.
Yeah.
I think Enzo wins. Why the hell not? Because fuck you. That's why. That's our answer to everything, Chris.
Be prepared next week for me to poke fun at you for that.
Hey, I'm here for that. Because if Enzo wins, I'm not going to poke fun at you. I'm going to be commiserating with you.
Yeah. Next up.
I think he wins.
Next up, Universal title. Brock Lesnar versus Braun.
Yeah, baby. Main event time. Yeah. Brock and Braun. Here we go. No more of this undercard bullshit.
Go. Just go. Get it out of your system. I know you want to.
My number 2 on my list. You know what? Honestly, I thought of 2 finishes for this match that would work really well. The easy finish and the great finish. The easy finish, you ready? Both guys fail to answer the 10 count and are double DQ'd. They beat the shit out of each other so long and so hard, and I would have blood, but they're not going to do that because they don't do blood anymore. But
would you have a broken ring?
Nah, I think that's a little overplayed at this point.
Okay.
I would have both guys somehow either outside or they don't answer the referee's 10 count, and they're both and they're dead, and that's the match. After like 8 minutes of them just beating the ever-loving shit out of each other.
Okay.
That's one way you get out of this match. Another way that a friend of mine suggested, so I don't want to take credit for this. Listen to how great this is, per my buddy. Braun murders Brock for like 7-8 minutes, just beats the crap out of him. Brock, out of desperation, which was teased in the 4-way, grabs a Kimura and breaks Braun's arm. Braun lets go. The referee goes and checks on him, sees that the arm is broken, and calls off the match, even though Braun wants to continue. That's awesome. My buddy John, you're a smart motherfucker. That's exactly how you book this match.
I could see that actually working.
Yeah, because you make Braun look like $1 million by having him just beat the shit out of Brock, and I love Brock selling. B, you keep the belt on Brock with a bullshit technicality, and C, you make Braun look like a conquering hero.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, my buddy John knows his shit.
Give your buddy John a high five for me, because that's actually really cool.
A great idea when I was texting him this afternoon. So I would love it. Now what I think is going to happen is I think it's going to be a back and forth street fight, and then Brock's going to win clean because why not? But you got to keep Brock strong for WrestleMania, I guess, because that's where we're going.
Yep.
I would put the belt on Braun right now. I don't know if you need the belt for Brock Roman if that's where you're going to go. It doesn't hurt, but you can have Brock Roman unfinished business, have it be enough without the belt.
Now I just want to see a sitcom movie or something that says Brock versus Roman unfinished business. Just get the movie trailer guy in here.
Then again, the right voice guy.
Up.
Then again, it goes against one of my few tenets of this show, which is Roman Reigns needs the belt for 9 months.
Yes,
and he needs it at WrestleMania with the fireworks. You know, so I don't know. I mean, the fact that we know we're getting Brock Roman at WrestleMania kind of makes the rest of this elementary, perfunctory. You know, like
superfluous.
Good word. Someone's got the old Shift F7 going in Microsoft Word. Like,
are you kidding me? Do you want me to tell you what I got on my SATs for the English portion?
I can see very high. But yeah, that's the problem here. Is that since we know the destination, the journey is kind of boring.
I can't believe it.
So that's how I do it. I am here on John's idea. Braun beats the shit out of Brock. Brock breaks the arm with the Kimura. Match ends on a technicality. Braun looks strong and mean and vicious. And then, for good measure, he beats the shit out of 14 jobbers Monday night with one arm.
I just want to issue a public apology for 20 seconds ago of being that guy to bring up my SAT scores. I'm sorry to everybody that was listening that had to hear that.
Bring it up, which is good. You just alluded to them.
That was still though. I feel bad for having.
That's okay. Just wait till the YouTube live chat. Just wait till the YouTube live chat catches up to this part of the show. This is like 2 minutes behind.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. In reality, I think Brock wins more or less clean. It doesn't mean the match won't be great. But I don't know. I would love for something different.
Yeah.
Something creative, something original.
That would be nice. That would be nice. Creativity and originality. Two things we don't see a lot of.
To be fair, Brock matches, which are agented by Paul Heyman, have all been creative and original this year. So maybe we'll get the benefit of the doubt.
We'll see.
Chris, I'm setting the over-under for Roman runs into the ring post at 2.5.
How many times?
Over or the under?
How many times Braun runs in?
Runs into something. 2.5. Take the over or the under.
I'm going to take the over.
You know, if Braun Strowman ever fought anybody in a wide open field, he'd be invincible. You know that, right?
Yes.
Into?
Actually, I don't know about that, because if the other person was faster, they could probably run away from him.
True. Maybe hiding some grain or something.
Yeah, I don't know if Braun has the endurance for a sprint.
No, Braun does not strike me as Captain Cardio.
Captain Cardio.
Yeah. Jen, thoughts on this match after I geeked out over Brock Lesnar for a minute?
Jen, anything that we say at this point is going to be nowhere near as good as what George has said, so we're just going to have to go with it.
No, it wasn't even me. It was my buddy John.
Still, though.
That idea is so good, I want to make sure that I give him credit. I want to make sure that I don't steal it.
80% delivery, my friend.
Yeah, you know.
There you go.
So, all right.
Jen.
What are your thoughts on this match, guys?
I think Brock is gonna win.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to see it ending any other way because there's a lot of opportunities between now and Mania for Braun to drop the title again, because that he's going to be the anchor of whatever Survivor Series team they have, because they're still going to end up doing this dumbass brand versus brand shit. They're going to do it again just like they did last year. It's going to be just as bad as it was last year. He's going to be the anchor for the Raw side.
And the match itself was pretty great, except for Shane McMahon nearly dying about 14 times in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, and you know what? And I'll say this again. I said it at a time. Props to Roman Reigns for doing everything he could to make sure that guy didn't die on that spot.
Yeah.
Because a lesser man would have killed Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
But Roman's enough of an athlete where he could basically caught him and lowered him to the mat instead of threw him to the mat, which could have literally killed the man.
Yeah.
So props to Roman for that.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't need to see Shane ever wrestle ever again. Like,
well, you're going to.
It worked at Mania because it worked at Mania because AJ's a savant. Kevin Owens ain't the spot.
Be prepared for Chinlock.
Me and Scar and the Hyenas. All three of us are fucking prepared.
Chinlock Owens inside Hell in a Cell with Shane McMahon. That sounds like a thrilling match.
Me and Scar and Whoopi Goldberg and the other two Hyenas. We're all ready. We're all prepared.
I think the one of them was Cheech Marin.
I think you're right. Yeah, I know Whoopi was the leader though.
Yes.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons and Whoopi Goldberg and Cheech Marin and the one who was like half dumb and I were all prepared.
We're trying, Disney. We're trying not to.
Was Cheech Marin the dumb one? It was Cheech
Marin. It doesn't like the guy who played Ed, who was the dumb one, didn't have like any sort of discernible credits. I don't know.
All I remember is they ripped Scar up. They fucked Scar up.
Yep.
Yeah, he deserved it, that bastard. Son of a bitch.
Next time on 2Ks1 Sport Disney movie analysis, which villains did you hate the most?
You know? I'll read Hamlet. My match week will be Hamlet. We'll talk about the King. We're not talking about Hamlet, right? If we're going to talk about the Lion King, we got to go to the source material. We got to go back to the source material and talk Hamlet.
Oh shit! I'm crying and laughing at the same time.
Yeah. Fucking Hamlet, you whiny bastard. Anyway. All right.
Okay, so
know, this show,
we're all
so
pretty much
off the fucking rails. God, you're the one who was drinking. I'm not drinking.
We're all pretty much in agreement that Brock retains the title.
Save us, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Someone.
I'm trying to steer us back to. Okay, let's go to the reason why I was drinking so much.
Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go, meta.
Roman Reigns versus John Cena.
You know we're gonna win it. It doesn't matter, right?
I'm gonna start this out here because
this is your baby.
Well, this is mine and Jen's baby here. You know, we're both gonna have some words on this, but I'm gonna start this off by saying Roman cut a promo this week that was far and away one of the best things that he's ever done on a microphone in the company, if not the best. If not the best. This was A+, material that you teach at the Performance Center stuff. Fantastic work. Why? Why didn't we lead off with that? Because every time John Cena gets on a microphone, no matter who he's on the microphone against, they lose. So why not start Roman off with the upper hand? At least give him some sort of a semi-level playing field here. Because you know that John Cena doesn't give a shit, and he's just going to go out there and say whatever he has to say to make the other guy look like a piece of shit and then walk away and not give them any chance to recover. He's seen it before, and we're seeing it again. Why not start Roman off on top?
We said it last week. A lesser man than myself would have just said, "I told you so," after the AJ Styles debacle, and repeated with this Roman Reigns John Cena promo.
Yeah, you were right.
But I am not. I am that lesser man, Chris.
Yeah, you were right.
Fucking told you so.
You were right, and I was wrong. I will agree to that 100%.
It doesn't happen often. Let the record reflect. It doesn't happen often. You're the smart one. I'm the ad. You're the Cheech Marin. And I guess that makes Jen. I guess that makes you Whoopi by default. But you know what though? Like these promos. Okay, I'll let you finish. Let me interject real quick, and then you know what I hated, and I don't blame Roman for this one iota because he scripted to say this. Roman Reigns saying, "I've had more great matches than you," takes me right out of the feud. Okay. Newsflash. We all know professional wrestling is fake. Right? If you didn't know that, you got bigger problems. But you don't need to rub our nose in it. The point of this should not be to have great matches. It should be to win those matches. Right? Mm-hmm. And I don't blame Roman for this at all because he was scripted to this. And they've done this before with Dolph Ziggler. So this is something that's in their little bag of tricks. Is that, I've had more great matches than you. Bitch, I don't care. That's not the point. This ain't PWG. This ain't even New Japan. Y'all talk about how this is the big leagues and you're here to win. That's what you should be talking about. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be doing this meta shit. Mm-hmm. There should be two bulls. There should be two alpha dogs fighting in the yard to see who the biggest dog is. Or two rams butting heads like on the nature shows. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. The two rams just collide skulls until one of them backs away. That's all this had to be. Instead, they decided to do this smart catnip bullshit, which doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, you're 100% correct.
Mm-hmm. I'm not even a Roman Reigns fan, and I'm pissed off for the guy. Mm-hmm. I can imagine how you or Jen or Tanya or any of the other hardcores who stuck with this guy through thick and thin who had to watch this feel.
Yeah, no, it's...
for you.
It is.
And again, I'm not a fan compared to you guys.
It is absolutely unforgivable the fact that, like, And this is where I'm going to call John Cena to the carpet here. In fact, Tanya, I'm going to borrow your thing here. I'm calling John Cena to the front of the class right now. I know that's your gimmick, and you've probably copyrighted and trademarked it and all that other stuff, but I'm using it here, and I hope you'll forgive me for it. But John Cena, you're getting called to the front of the class here because what the fuck is wrong with you that you think it's okay to just give other talent no chance against you to possibly garner support and sympathy? Every avenue that they possibly have, you immediately take that away from them by just calling them out on it on the microphone before they can even make use of it. Everything that they've got, everything that any person has, whether it's AJ, whether it's The Miz, whether it's Dean Ambrose, whether it's Roman Reigns, anybody. This is John Cena's MO for the past year. What he has done in every feud that he's had for the past year is he's gone out there with a microphone in his hand, whether he did it on SmackDown Live or whether he's done it in the middle of a ring. He's gone out there with a microphone in his hand. He has said every possible thing that a person could say against him and then torn it to shreds with his gifted ability to use words to get what point he wants across rather than what reality is across. And, you know, the fans deserve to be called out for this bullshit too, because the fans spent years, you know, vilifying Cena and demonizing him for doing this to all their favorites. They fucking tore him to shreds when he did it to Punk. But now that he's doing it to Roman, oh, see, we're all justified in everything that we said against Roman for all these years because John Cena's saying it too. Bullshit. Get the fuck out of here with that garbage. You guys are just saying that because you're trying so desperately hard to find anything that can still back up your claims that Roman doesn't deserve to be in the top spot. You know what? If he's not the guy, he's not the guy. But we haven't seen the evidence. We don't know. Because he's been booked like shit. So how are we supposed to know whether he can be the top guy or not? Don't send the guy out there who is an expert at destroying talent's credibility and have them destroy the credibility of the one guy that you supposedly care about more than everybody else. You know, here's the thing I'll say. You know, all these fans going out there saying that John Cena, you know, John Cena's words give all of their points credence and back everything up. How does John Cena cutting Roman Reigns off at the knees prove your point that Roman Reigns is the chosen one and he was anointed by Vince to be the top guy? How does that prove your point when John Cena's out there making him look like a very, very small, insignificant man on that microphone? Riddle me that, Batman.
The whole point of the microphone is to get your opponent over because then it makes you look that much stronger when you beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Jen, I know you have words on this. Please.
So, I don't know. Jen, the floor is yours. You're a member of the Empire. Go for it.
I am. And
I'm not. You all are in the Roman Empire, and I'm hanging out here. I'm Attila, hanging out on the fringes. Kind of trading with you, you know, doing. I'm one of the goths or something, hanging out on the fringes. Not the ones who wear black makeup and shit. One of the OG goths. Hanging out on the fringes of the Roman Empire.
George the Visigoth.
That's fine.
I like that.
I don't even care if people don't like Roman. I mean, I don't like Cena, you know, and I never have, and he just doesn't do it for me. But we're fans of who we're fans of, you know, and I don't want to turn this into, like, you know, turning on each other. But my problem was exactly what Chris was saying, was that Cena's out there jerking himself off over these past few weeks while Roman stands there with his dick in his hand. And I'm like, you know, this is just, and then I see it all over Twitter and everybody's all of a sudden Cena fans, you know, and Roman sucks and he can't hang. And then, so when he got the stage for himself and Cena wasn't there, I was just so happy because I was like, now he can just shine and not get cut out and just show who he is without Cena with his fucking little smirk. And, you know, like when Roman pauses and he's like, what, did you forget your lines? You know, I'll wait. And I'm like, dude, you know, sometimes people pause to get their thoughts together. It doesn't mean he forgot something. So the whole thing has just rubbed me the wrong way. Although it has made me want Roman to beat the shit out of Cena, so maybe it's worked. I don't know.
Roman's going to win, and it's not going to matter. It's done. No, hey. I mean, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is unfortunate that, and of all things, the thing that makes it the most unfortunate is that they had to cram this into a month rather than giving it the drawn out perspective that it deserves. Like, honestly, a feud between the guy who was the standard bearer for the company, and whether you like it or not, Cena was the standard bearer of the company for a decade. A feud between that guy and the guy who is supposed to succeed him, who's supposed to be the next man in line. And that is not something you just cram into a month and then throw on a pay-per-view before one of those guys leaves to go shoot a movie and won't be back until Mania season. That's not how you do things. That's not the proper way to convey the gravitas of this event. The only way that becomes excusable is if this match ends with Samoa Joe running in and choking the life out of either of them to set up a next feud to take them into Survivor Series. That's the only way that cramming this together becomes excusable. And I don't think that they're going to do that. So the organization of this was poor. The execution of it was abysmal. And the outcome is going to be irrelevant as a result, because the damage has already been done. And this is not a case like, John Cena. Yes, John Cena did wipe AJ out on the mic, and killed a lot of his momentum, and he's still not fully recovered from it now 9 months later from after the Rumble. But the fans still love AJ, and the fans still are supporting him. And even if he hasn't fully picked up his momentum, he still is in a good position. Roman, this just reinforces and it will only serve to multiply the negativity of the reaction, because everybody who might have been a Cena fan and also a Roman fan, translation, the kids, the people who WWE is supposedly supposed to be catering to, everyone just saw their old hero tear their new hero to shreds, and now their new hero is having to resort to acting like a dickhead when the other guy's not there. The kind of stuff that, essentially talking behind the guy's back, the kind of stuff that teachers tell you in school not to do. So this is just going to serve to further alienate Roman from a large portion of the fan base. And it's like, at this point, what is the point? What's the point of continuing for him? I mean, he's making great money and he's doing great work. He's putting on amazing matches. The guy is a world-class talent. But, I mean, the company's going down around him. All those claims that he made to Cena about the ticket sales being great and all that stuff, tell that to me again, while also showing me the photos of all the half-empty arenas for Raw and SmackDown, where all the people are having to be moved to sit on one side of the arena facing the hard camera so that you don't see the empty arena on the other side. Tell me again how their ticket sales are doing great and revenue is through the roof and all that other stuff. I'm sure they're still making plenty of money on all their online marketing and through social media and merch sales and all that stuff. But the TV deal comes up in 2 years or a year and a half.
Clock's ticking on that TV deal, and it could get real ugly, brother Chris. Real, and you know what? TV deal's up in a year and a half, but negotiations are going to start way before then, because they don't wait till the last minute for these things. Yeah. So I mean, clock's ticking, and when you see and I don't want to steal Brother Tierney's gimmick, but when you see ratings down year over year, year after year. Like there's something to be said here. Now, fortunately, they're lucky in that the rest of USA's lineup is a black hole of shit.
Yeah.
There's no Burn Notice ain't walking through that door. White Collar ain't walking through that door anytime soon. Shows that people watch. Other than
for Burn Notice, one of my all-time favorite shows.
Great show, but that's not coming around anytime soon. I mean, no one's watching The Colony. No one's watching Queen of the South, which I'm told are good shows, but they don't draw eyeballs.
Nobody is watching Chris Lee Knows Best. That's for sure.
God.
Yeah.
But my point is, things could get pretty harrowing for WWE relatively soon.
Even if the only remaining TV competition in TNA goes, I mean, you saw, we talked yesterday about how TNA just basically fucked themselves.
It's TNA.
Do we want to talk about this real quick?
Sure. Let's talk about TNA. You know what? Let's talk about TNA.
Let's have a quick interlude here about about the latest.
How grateful is Vince McMahon that everybody he goes against is either brain dead or a carny?
Mm-hmm. So the other day, TNA had a one night only special that aired, and that one night only special was using footage from an old Global Force Wrestling from back before Global Force Wrestling was Impact. Back when it was still just Jeff Jarrett's company. This is 2015 footage.
2015, I believe.
Yeah, but they tried to either 2 or 3 years ago. It's either 2 or 3 year old footage. Either way, and they tried to pass the footage off as being current day footage, though, with the commentary, because I guess commentary was re-recorded after the fact to try and make it seem like it was current day footage. And who happens to be a part of these tapings and part of this show but Bobby Roode, who, as we all know, is a WWE contracted performer. How do they try and get around this? By saying that he left NXT to come there.
He jumped ship.
And he jumped ship.
Brother Chris, Sister Jenna. This reminds me, Sister Jen, excuse me. This reminds me of an episode of Monday Night Raw / Monday Nitro. At the time, Raw was taped in blocks, similar to how NXT is, and Nitro was live. So you had Rick Rude appear on Monday Night Raw with his mustache, while at the exact same time appearing live on Monday Nitro with no mustache. That was great. But at least they had the excuse of, well, the guy, we taped it, and then he left the company, and now he's here. And everyone kind of acknowledged it, and we moved on with our lives.
This was not lying.
This is not that.
That is not what this is. This is lying outright to the audience and making false claims about a contracted performer.
Yeah.
There are so many grounds upon which some sort of lawsuit can be raised for this.
It's been a fun year. One of the categories in the Observer, Brother Chris, is most disgusting promotional tactic. I don't think this will place on the ballot because I think number one is pretty obvious when WWE sends out blast list telling you to sign up for the network to watch Jimmy Snuka matches. I think that's number one with a bullet, but we'll get there. But this is in the running for most disgusting promotional tactic.
Yeah, it's pretty egregiously bad.
It's pretty bad. It's no Travis Banks memorial. It's no 5-star wrestling using the Manchester bombings to cancel a show that they were taking a bath on. You know? And it's not even whatever the fuck's going on SmackDown right now. But this is in the next tier of shitty stuff. And the problem is because it's TNA, it's not even like the 100th dumbest thing they've ever done as a company.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, when you try to use a shoot injury that happened at a AAA show as a storyline on your Thursday night shows,
yes.
I mean that's
yeah, God.
Yeah, so that's
how lucky is Vince that everyone who goes against him is idiotic.
Even in spite of that, even if that last bit of TV competition goes away, like I could very easily see USA turning that around and saying, well, that's just as a further sign that people are interested in watching wrestling anymore. And, you know, if you want to, you know, continue to be on our network, you really have to show us that there's going to be some interest, that there's going to be an increase in the audience, because we're only seeing diminishing returns over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
On the off chance that they lose television, they're in severe trouble.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they're going to lose. I don't think they're going to lose television entirely. Sure, of course.
What do you think it would take to turn this around, or do you think it's just too late?
I mean,
they are not interested in promoting stars. They are more interested in promoting the brand. The problem is whenever the company has done really well, it's been on the back of a star. Hogan, Austin, Rock, Cena. It's been on the back of a guy who's been, oh my God, so-and-so is coming to my town this week. I need to go see him. Mm-hmm. It's never, oh, the WWE's in town, let's see the WWE. That attracts a certain level of people. I want to see the WWE. But to get everyone else, you need a draw.
You need a star. Somebody who is larger than life.
And I don't know if that... Oh, go on.
Well, okay. What I don't understand is that people keep saying they need to make stars, but then on the other hand, I keep hearing they don't want stars. It's about the brand. So
they don't want stars.
I'm trying to figure out why people are getting like Roman or
they don't want
whatever. Are getting the blame when it's the company that's doing it. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think I understand what you're asking. Let me say this and tell me if I'm answering the question. They don't want stars because stars are difficult. And they don't want stars because stars can leave and do other star stuff. The Rock can leave and go star in movies and leave Vince in the cold. Cena can leave and go star in movies and leave Vince in the cold. They don't want that. They want people who are dependent on them because it makes them feel important.
Which is strange given the fact that Vince is so incredibly desperate for any shred of mainstream recognition. I talked about this last week when we were talking about the Mae Young Classic. You know, putting Shayna Baszler in the finals and, you know, making a huge deal out of the 4 Horsewomen. I mean, yeah, Ronda Rousey's in the crowd. Ronda Rousey got a huge pop from the audience. That's all well and good. Of course, she'll be a star with that segment of the audience that is familiar with her and wants to see her come and just beat the shit out of people. Of course, she's going to be a big deal for that. But Vince doesn't care about those people. Vince cares about fucking TMZ coming through and doing stories on Ronda Rousey matches because that'll, be, some credibility from the mainstream because Vince doesn't want to be known as a wrestling promoter. Vince wants to be known as anything besides that. We've talked about that before on this show that, Vince is so incredibly ashamed of the fact that of all things in the world that he could be, and of all the things in the world that could have made him his millions and billions of dollars, that it's promoting professional wrestling instead of being fucking Hollywood. Well, if that's such a big problem for you, buddy, take your 73-year-old ass to Hollywood and go try and make some movies. We've seen how those work on all your fucking straight-to-DVD masterpieces. Let's see how those play to the big leagues. Go pitch your story. Go do what every other person that wants to be a filmmaker does. Don't fucking tell me that you want to make movies and that you're bigger and better than all the other companies because you don't make wrestling. You make, big deal stories and big deal movies and all this other shit. Okay, well then prove to me that you can do something that could be classified as a big deal production that doesn't involve professional wrestling. Prove to me that you can do that, because I haven't seen any evidence proving that you can. I mean, the Marine 5 is certainly not going to be breaking any box office records because it's not going to be showing up at any box offices.
As far as your second question, Jen, you asked why do people blame Roman? The answer is twofold. One, people don't like the guy, which, whatever. And two, because the buck stops with the guy at the top. People blamed Lex Luger when Lex Luger was top of the card and he wasn't drawing. People blame Shawn Michaels when he was the top of the card and he wasn't drawing. And don't let this revision history tell the story about how Shawn Michaels was great. Fuck you. I was there. Nobody gave a shit about Shawn Michaels until Austin came around. So don't let that. Uncle George says, don't let the past be lied to you. Just saying. That's the thing, is that the buck stops with the guy at the top of the card. Now, you may say to yourself, why don't people blame Brock Lesnar? I don't know. Should they? Probably.
That's what I was going to ask. It seems like when Roman had the title, it's the champion that draws.
Yes.
And then now he doesn't have it, but it's still him. It's not whoever has the title. So it just confuses me.
He's the most important full-timer, though, isn't he?
Well, it's less about importance and more about the perception that he is the fucking chosen one, which is garbage.
He's the linchpin right now.
But it's garbage, though, to say that, because here's the thing, and I said it before when I was talking about the Cena feud, and I'll say it again here. You don't treat a guy who's supposed to be the chosen one because, I understand Vince wants Vince in the past. I don't know if it's still true. Vince wanted Roman to be over as his true blue superhero Hulk Hogan-esque babyface. That's what he wanted. He wanted Roman to fit into that mold that Hogan and Cena fit into, that made him all that money. And that's all well and good. And Vince wanted to do that because Vince writes those characters, and that way Vince can feel good about the fact that he created another one. He created another success. Great. That's fine. But at some point, eventually, you have to realize, okay, this guy doesn't fit. And it's time to do something else. It took Vince the better part of 3 years to realize, oh, yeah, Roman's not going to be my true blue babyface, so I might as well just let him go out there and be an asshole and just do what comes naturally to him.
I hope so.
And
I hope it's just a temporary thing for the Cena feud.
I mean, he's been for since Mania, really. Like, he was being an asshole after Mania, after he retired Taker, and rightfully so, as he should have been. But Tanya, you said it right. A top guy who's supposed to be the number one guy in the company has never been booked as badly as Roman has. The guy who has been clowned, who has held the championship, the top championship in the company, for less than 80 days.
Let me think.
Cumulative reigns over the course of, what was it, 3? Yeah, 3 reigns.
Three reigns.
3 reigns.
The 5-minute reign, the one pre-Rumble, the one that he lost the Rumble that he beat Sheamus for, and then the one that he beat Triple H for. I think it's the last. That's only 3 he has, right?
Yeah. 3 reigns, a combined total of, I want to say it's 72 days. I could be wrong in that number.
I've been saying this for 6 months. Put the fucking belt on him and let's go.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a fan. Like, put the belt on him for 9 months and let's see what we have. Either he succeeds or he fails. But either way, we know we have a test. We have proof. We have a definitive answer, one way or the other.
Yeah. And make sure that there is no opening for anybody to go out there and say he's not performing well, because we know Roman Reigns is a friggin' grade A steak performer. The guy is like 4-star matches minimum with friggin' Corey Hollis and John Skyler jobbers in NXT kind of guy. He'll go out there, put him against anybody, and he'll give you a match that you're going to want to watch. And the crowd is, whether they want to accept it or not, the crowd has reinforced that by giving Roman the only reactions that are worth noticing on the shows.
We talked about it with the Jason Jordan stuff.
Yeah. So you can talk all you want about how you say Roman doesn't have good matches, or Roman can't be a draw, or Roman can't do this or that or the other thing, but you guys are contradicting yourself with your own words by giving him the only reactions on the show and only ever talking about what he does.
I don't know if Roman could be a draw. I don't know if anybody, but I don't know. Here's the deal, Chris. I don't know if he can be a draw. I don't know if he can't be a draw. I don't know.
We don't know.
Which is why put the fucking belt on him and let's go.
Yeah.
Like, then, like, if you put the belt on him for 9 months, from WrestleMania 34, right? 34, yes, to Royal Rumble 2019 or the Survivor Series 2018, or a huge chunk of time, one of two things is going to happen. Either he's going to move numbers or he's not. If he moves numbers, great. You have your top guy for the next 5 years. If he doesn't move numbers, great. Now you know he's not the top guy. But either way, you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Like one way or the other, you need to put that. Like as political scientists say, you got to put the pole in the field. You need to put that pole in the field for Roman Reigns. You either he moves the needle or he doesn't move the needle. I don't know what the answer is. Nobody knows what the answer is.
Live chat.
He's never been given the ball. He's never been given the ball and a chance to run with it definitively, unequivocally.
Live chat. Thank you for getting the numbers correct for me. Combined total number of reigns over the number of days over the 3 reigns is 117 days. His 3rd reign was the one that lasted for less than 80 days. It was 77. Thank you, Crash Bandit and Marcel, for getting the right numbers on that.
Like I am not exaggerating when I say that the future of this company depends on whether or not we know if Roman Reigns is a draw. Because if you put the belt on him and the numbers turn around, all of a sudden you can go to NBC and say, "Hey guys, open up the bank for us." And if you put the belt on him and the numbers don't turn around, you have time before the deal comes up to think of something else. But this half-ass bullshit doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help. It doesn't help him. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help any of the guys he's feuding against.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and again, I'm not a fan. I'm not like you two. I mean, I appreciate his work, but he doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Which God bless. I mean, y'all are fans of Brock the way I am a fan of Brock, you know? So
I don't know if warm and fuzzy is the proper description of some of the feelings, but okay, that's
okay. For me.
No, but I mean, like, I'm not trying to be dismissive. Like,
no,
we don't like who we like.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But
yeah, exactly.
This guy is either the future or he's not. But I have no idea if he's the future or if he's not. No one does. Because he's never been given a chance. So
that's that.
And I mean, I've said that before. That's nothing new. Any longtime listeners to this show know that I basically have that speech memorized at this point because that's how inexplicable this whole thing is. So, all right.
Any other thoughts on this abomination of a feud?
You know how we talked about at the beginning of the show how the Roman Jason Jordan match made both guys look better? This is making both guys look at best the same and probably worse. And that should tell you all you need to know.
But Roman's going to be the only one that has to suffer for it.
Yes.
Cena's just disappearing for 6 months to go
Cena and
be fucking Shazam or whatever.
Cena and his horrible haircut are just going to go walk off in the night.
Oh, one other thing, John Cena. For the love of God, you're not fucking Dr. Thugonomics anymore. Stop putting the goddamn accent on your voice every time you go out there to break somebody down in a promo.
Yeah, whatever.
It's just stupid. It's just aggravating.
So
that fucking persona died in what 2007.
About then.
Can we just
06 maybe?
Can we just let it stay dead? Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's So yeah, this feud has the match will be fine. This feud has been a mess. So anything else?
I mean, I don't even know if I have the energy at this point to talk about SmackDown. So
you know what? SmackDown's so real quick. I have the energy to talk about SmackDown.
Okay, go for it.
Like it was. Remember when I remember when SmackDown Live used to mean episodic television that rewarded you for watching week to week, topped off by a 15-minute AJ Styles match that was usually pretty great. It wasn't always great, but it was never this shitty, Chris, Jen.
Yeah.
We have AJ feuding with Baron Corbin, who keeps ruining the AJ Styles Open Challenge, depriving us of an AJ Styles match every week. We have the Dolph Ziggler shit show. And we have Jinder Mahal telling versus jokes about Shinsuke Nakamura, which, fuck. We don't have the Fashion Files. We had barely any wrestling last week. We got Becky's return, so that was cool.
Yeah.
1 year ago, we had Becky and Alexa cutting vicious promos on each other. We had La Luchadora, remember that? Mickey James coming back.
Yep.
Nikki and Natalya were fighting in crowds, having fun, cool segments. The Usos were heels, starting with fighting with American Alpha. Harper and Rowan and Orton were three-way tag team champs. Remember that?
Yep.
Excuse me, Harper and Bray and Orton. Excuse me.
Yes.
AJ Dean and Ellsworth stuff was interesting, and fun. The matches were great. Ellsworth as the delusional smarmy guy was a change of pace. Miz the Dolph Ziggler was a highlight, and let me say again, Miz and Dolph Ziggler were highlights. And again, you were rewarded for watching. Now you're being punished for watching. So, I don't know. SmackDown is bad. And Jinder Mahal's racism was useless and stupid. And we're better than that. I like to think that we're better than that. I like to think that we are, but apparently we're not. Apparently we're just...
Can I just say how...
Fuck. This business is just tarny as fuck and always will be. And every time I think that this business is turning the corner and turning into some sort of legitimate enterprise, I'm reminded with AAA, and I'm reminded with Jeff Jarrett, and I'm reminded with this, and I'm reminded with the fucking FloSlam shit that this business is run by carnies and morons, Chris. So,
can I just say the absolute and utter bullshit of having a guy who goes out there and rails against people for being xenophobic every week, making freaking Asian jokes.
I think that's the point.
About
that's
Nakamura.
The point they're trying to convey.
Even if that's the point they're trying to convey, just know. Just know.
I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt with subtlety because this company doesn't do subtle.
And that's really the point. That is honestly the point of this. You know, there are enough instances of good nuance in storytelling and subtlety and just honest storytelling that makes sense that we could go to. This is not one of them. This is not a case of anything good being conveyed here.
Here's the problem. I'll go on.
It's mind-blowing to me how tone-deaf they can be. In the climate that we live in right now, especially here in the United States, the political climate that we live in right now, and just overall how generally on edge people are about topics like racism and prejudice and things like that. The WWE can be so tone deaf as to go out there, have an Indian, a Canadian who looks like an Indian champion saying that the crowd is xenophobic against him, and then making anti-Asian jokes. Just it blows my mind.
Here's a different issue.
It blows my mind.
This entire, as it should, and you're right to be blown mind. This whole Nakamura Jinder thing is a no-win. And let me tell you why. They should have had Nakamura squash Jinder at SummerSlam like he was the Ultimate Warrior. Instead, they put on a horrendous match based around Jinder having no moveset. Now we have one of two things are going to happen, Chris. One, Nakamura is going to wrestle another long, bad match against Jinder Mahal and for the belt and lose. Or B, Nakamura is going to win and we're going to get a rematch that nobody gives a fuck about.
Mm-hmm.
They should have just had him just beat the shit out of him at SummerSlam and call it a day.
Yep.
But here we are.
But no, because WWE is doing a tour in India and they have to have a friggin' Jinder Mahal championship run through New Delhi, here we are. Because Vince really thinks that that's moving the needle for him in a market where people actually get paid by the company to go to live shows instead of the other way around.
In a market where they're trying to sell network subscriptions when the pay-per-views are on free television. Did you know that?
Jen, I understand why you don't watch SmackDown.
Jen, you're the smart one. You're the smart one, Jen.
Yeah, I just check Twitter, and then what I see there lets me know.
Yeah.
So,
like, even watching the YouTube recaps is just, it just is like a needle to the brain.
And let me tell you guys something.
Sure.
Let me tell you. Okay. My 12-year-old son, he's the one that got me into wrestling. And that was back in, like, he started in 2014, and I started trying to watch and bond with them. And it was actually Roman who hooked me into actually enjoying wrestling. And over the past year, he barely watches anymore. He'll watch Raw with me, and SmackDown, not at all. So they're not even entertaining a 12-year-old, and that's not hard to do. It doesn't take much to entertain kids, and he could care less. He's like, I'll just, maybe check out YouTube, which he sometimes does and sometimes doesn't. So they need to do something, because that's pretty sorry if you can't, entertain a child with something that he's passionate about.
Exactly.
Cool story.
Well said. Well said. I want you and like I want you and a legion of other parents to take these stories and find some way to communicate them to WWE and let them know your target audience, the people that you are trying to hook into your show, the people who you say this show is for, the reason why you changed this from TV 14 to TV PG. They've given up. And when they've given up, everybody else is not far behind.
No. And we've got Hell in a Cell coming, because we're here in Detroit, and he could care less. I'm like, do you want to go? Because, I'll figure out how to get the money. No. I'm like, okay, cool. Save me the money. Oh, and that's fucking pathetic, because it used to be like, they're coming to Detroit, and it's like, yeah, let's go. And now it's like, no.
So, 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, pay-per-view could come through any town. And because it was a pay-per-view, the arena would sell out. Now they are having to drop ticket prices to abysmally low levels just to ensure that the arenas sell out. And even in some cases, they're not getting the sellout. And this is for pay-per-view. Never mind what I said before about how Raw and SmackDown, the arenas are half empty. These are not things that you can just gloss over and hide. The photos are out there. People are
curious
talking.
As to what the actual in-building attendance will be at the Staples Center tomorrow night, by the way, or excuse me, Sunday night.
People are talking. People have the information. The word is spreading. And, Vince should realize there's a reason why Kidani picked the time that he did to finally try to make his push into the U.S. There's a reason why Kidani is doing this. Because he smells the blood in the water. Kidani is as good of a businessman as Vince is, if not better. And I guarantee you that the moment that there's even a hint that TV deal is not set in stone, Kidani's on the phone. It doesn't matter if it's for a tiny ass channel like Access TV where TNA is here, or fucking El Rey Network that has Lucha Underground, or anything like that. Doesn't matter if it's for a tiny ass thing that only airs in like 5 markets on some, or even some like public access channel or something like that. Kidani will make the move, and you will see that WWE is suddenly not as ironclad as it once was.
You're right about that. There are cracks in the foundation, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Well, maybe not. Maybe Roman's a draw. I'm not glib. Maybe he's a draw. We don't know.
If they do it right, maybe Roman's a draw. But that's anybody can be a draw if it's done right. That's the thing. Anybody can be a draw if you find a way to make them work for the audience. And that's the biggest thing, is that Vince has forgotten that he works for the audience. He doesn't work for himself.
So, anything else, my friend? Friends?
Yeah, I'm tapped out. Jen, do you have anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, let's do the plugs. We'll get out of here.
Plugs for me. All yours, my friend.
Yeah, we got all of our other podcasting friends to check out. Face Like Feministas with the Lady J and Courtney. We've also got Not Your Demographic with Stunning Stella Cheeks and the enigmatic Aaron Klein. I want to give a special shout out to Heart Eyes and Wistful Eyes with Rose. Be sure to check them out and follow them on Twitter if you want to hear stories from wrestling fans about wrestlers that are their favorites. It's a very great, uplifting, fun podcast for people to have an outlet to just, if you want to go on there and just gush about somebody who is your reason for watching wrestling. That is the show for you to listen to hear people just going out there and just gushing. And it's great. I've listened to a couple of episodes and I love it because just to hear that kind of positivity is something that, I mean, we just spent 2 hours talking about how WWE is fucking the hell up out of professional wrestling in general. This is the exact opposite of that, getting to hear people telling stories about things that they like. So special shout out to Hard Eyes and Wistful Eyes. Check them out there on iTunes. Give them a subscription. Give them a 5-star rating because I'd like to hear more great stories from people who are fans of professional wrestling and reasons why it should be watched versus reasons why it shouldn't. Our fellow Friday podcasting partners, Friday mornings with Shooting the Breeze with Takers Mania and Mr. Dr. Senju. I actually got to play Borderlands 2 this past weekend with Mr. Dr. Senju. Had a good time with him. Good guy. A lot of fun. They had an episode this morning talking about No Mercy and Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Good show. And Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling made their triumphant return to Fridays this week as well. Basically talking about everything not No Mercy related. So if you want some updates on New Japan, Evolve, Sumo, a lot of other good stuff, check them out as well. And, of course, you've got us.
We rock, don't we?
We do. Be sure to follow the Twitter feed at 2guys1sport, number 2, number 1 in the handle. Subscribe to us on iTunes. The link is in the description to the video. And next week, as George mentioned, we're going to have another special guest, Don Sal, coming to us for a guest spot from Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. He's going to be making a guest appearance on our show as well. He is at Evolve 92 right now, which is happening in Livonia, Michigan, I believe it is. He is at the show right now. He is going to be here next week to recap Evolve 92 and 93 with us, as well as talk about the falling out that's happening between WWN and FloSlam. We're also going to have No Mercy recap, discussion on the New Japan Destruction Tour, and whatever else we feel like talking about. Jen, do you want any plugs for your social media or anything that you may feel like sharing, or I don't know?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool. George, you got anything else?
Follow me on Twitter at GitSavis.
Yep, follow me on Twitter at CrazyChris576 as well.
As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out on a Friday. You guys are the best. We love entertaining you. We love hanging out with you. We love talking to you, with you, about you. Y'all make this really worthwhile.
Yeah.
Because there are some times, not gonna lie, where it's like, oh Christ, I gotta watch Raw. But then I'm like, man, I gotta talk to my people about it, and y'all are my people.
Yep.
So I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Friday, guys. It really is a lot of fun.
Yep. Every day in the live thread, we appreciate you for coming and hanging out with us. It's always good banter with all of you.
Yep.
And we hope that you will be back again for episode 30 next week. God, it's
30.
Really 30.
We're turning 30, Chris. God, we're old.
Old.
I can't wait for when we hit the 1 year anniversary next year. I think it's early March. No, it's not 52 because we had a week off somewhere in there. But
right. I think we did.
Even still, we're gonna hit that 1 year anniversary.
I'm for sure going to AEW in a couple weeks, so we'll have to move the show.
Yes, so we will. As always, remember to be flexible. Keep an eye on the Twitter feed and everything else to find out if we're moving.
I think it's like March 13th or something, so we got some time. Or October 13th. Yeah, we got some time.
It's the same weekend as Evolve 94, which I'm going to. I'm actually looking at my ticket. Yeah, Evolve '94 is October 14th, so your AAW show is October 13th.
Well, there was also one the 14th, but I had familial stuff, so people are throwing me a birthday party, so I kind of have to be in the audience for that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I kind of can't be like, hey, y'all throw me a birthday party, but I need to leave now to watch wrestling.
I mean, you could do that, but it really is not considered kosher.
No, it's not. No, not at all. Yeah. So, but a few weeks we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
All right.
So.
Everybody, remember, as always, don't work yourselves into a shoot. And thank you again for listening.
That's about John Cena's haircut or Kevin Owens' physique. Then work yourself into a shoot all you want. Guys, thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the shows, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night.